is Disa Karlsson. I work at the Student Services here at Stockholm University. And with me today, I have two colleagues from the Department of Sociology. Do you want to introduce yourselves maybe?
My name is Anna Kleinhag, and I'm one of two assistant director of studies, together with
Anna Borén.
Great. Okay, thank you. So we're here today to have this webinar, and the first part of the webinar, I'm going to talk a bit about what's general for all new international students and the information that is from the central part of the administration. And then Anna-Karin and Anna is going to tell you a bit about what's specific for all of you since you are admitted to the Department of Sociology. Okay, so what's next? Well, some of the first important steps at this time is actually related to the department. So if you need to confirm your seat, if you're conditionally admitted, and then later on in August, the registration, all of those details, they're going to tell you about that. But these are just the steps too. So you know that we're going to talk about those a bit later in the presentation. Here's the timeline for scholarships and tuition fees. So those of you who have applied for either the Swedish Institute Scholarship or the Stockholm University Scholarship, you will get the results in the end of April. And in the days following the announcements, all the students that are admitted who are required to pay the fee and have not received a scholarship, they will receive an invoice to pay the first installment. And the first installment needs to be paid by June the 1st. And it's after this that you can start applying for a residence permit. And the residence permit is applied for at the Migrations Agency, of course. And they actually have a specific webinar for newly admitted students on the 27th of April, together with Study in Sweden. And that's a good opportunity for you to get more detailed information in this regard, and also to ask any questions that you might have. A lot of questions that we get at the moment, of course, are related to the coronavirus, the pandemic, what's to do, what can you do, and things like that. So we have collected a Q&A in this regard for new international students. And this FAQ, it will be updated along as we go, depending on new regulations or directives from the Swedish government, or if there are new decisions taken by the university. So please check this regularly for updates, so you know what's happening or what's going on in this regard, as there's a lot of things that are unsure at the moment. We don't know yet what the I don't know, what will the border controls be in the beginning of the semester? We don't know yet. Will there be any directives or regulations in this regard? So as soon as we know, we will update it there. One thing that is very good to know is that there are insurances for different kind of students. So if you are a fee-paying student, and this is regardless if you receive a scholarship or not, you will be covered by an insurance called FAS. And this gives you access to health care in Sweden. And the notification of selection results document that you get from university admissions, you can use that one when you apply for a residence permit. So you will not need a specific insurance certificate in this regard. But if you have any questions about the FAS, you can just send an email to study@su.se, and me and my colleagues will answer any questions that you have. If you are from an EU, EEA, or Swiss citizen, then you need to remember to bring your European health insurance card. And this is just so you have access to Swedish healthcare and pay the Swedish patient fees. And remember to order and bring your card before you come to Sweden, because we've had issues, or some students have had issues previously if they don't bring the card and try to order it once they're here. So that's good to remember. Another thing is if you're here for more than 1 year, so if you're studying a 2-year program, you need to remember to register with the Swedish tax agency in order to receive a personal identity number. And once you have this one, you will be entitled to healthcare services and pay Swedish patient fees. This is just a collection of the average monthly budget that we have actually sampled from Study in Sweden, because they make this very good. So approximately 850 euros or $1,000 per month is the approximation, so to say, of the monthly budget. But this, of course, depends on what kind of accommodation you find and other related things. So it depends a bit, but it's just to give you a rough idea. We get a lot of questions also concerning if you're allowed to work in Sweden during your studies. And you are allowed to work during your studies, but note that it is rather difficult to find a part-time job in Sweden if you do not speak Swedish. And also, it is a good idea to first get acquainted with the new academic environment, with the study pace, before you start looking for a part-time job, because you might not know yet what kind of part-time job you can juggle at the same time as your studies, since your studies should be your main focus. So that's just something that we always point out. We have some links here to recommended websites to look for part-time jobs. And the first one, My Career, that's a page that you will have access to once you are registered as a student. And then Academic Work and Student Consulting are 2 other pages they can look at. And if you are in Sweden with a residence permit for your studies, then you are also allowed to, or you can apply for an extension of the residence permit after your studies to either find a job or start your own company. And if you're interested in being an entrepreneur, there's a link here to verksamt.se where you can see more information about that. And the last link on this slide to My Career events, that one is very good to look at when you're a student, because you will be able to participate in the specific workshops and webinars that our study and career counselors are holding for international students. So they go through things like how to write a CV for a Swedish job market and so on. So that's a good one to look at once you're a student. This is just linked to like all the things that I've just talked about previously are more or less on this page. So su.se/pre-departure. These are the things to look at before you make your travel arrangements. I'm just going to shortly talk a bit about housing. There is actually a recorded webinar that you can look at any time that is on the housing office website, because they give more detailed information, and you're very welcome to contact them if you have any questions. So I'm just going to go through some short details. So the application period for the autumn semester will start on May the 18th. And the accommodations will be handed out due to the date and time that you have applied for the accommodation. And all the rent contracts for the autumn semester are for the entire semester. So you cannot apply for a part of the semester. That's also good to know. And yeah, here's the link to the on-demand webinar that they have on their website. Here are some other recommended websites for housing. SSSB is the top one, is one of the largest student accommodation landlords in Stockholm. And this one is actually free. You don't have to pay anything to register at the website. And you can start collecting days already now. And I think if I remember correctly, you can collect up until 90 days. And then you need to park the days, and you can activate them again once you are a member of the student union and have registered for your courses in August. So it's good to start collecting your days early. Another page to look for accommodation is Akademisk Kvart, for example, or Bostad Direkt. There are also sites to look for, or Bostad Stockholm. And here, so this is another tip, is to remember that when you look for accommodation, to not make the distance the main issue, but actually use the public transportation app to see how long it takes to get somewhere, because it's not always the distance that makes it. So me, for example, I actually live in a different town, 70 kilometers north of Stockholm, but since it's on the right side of the town, I don't have to go through the city center. So I have just over an hour with the bus. And if you're living in the southern suburbs, it actually takes almost the same time to get to the university. So just look at the public transportation app and see how long it takes to get somewhere. That's a good tip. And here's just to sum up the tips that the housing office usually tell, and that is to start early, look out for scams, because unfortunately they are out there, and don't be too picky. So maybe you don't find your dream accommodation from the start, but you find accommodation and then later on you can find a new one. So I would say that as a tip. But we have an email address to the housing office here as well, and they can help you further with any details or questions that you have. Okay, so once you arrive in Sweden, what's important to remember to do? Well, you need to activate your university account and order your university card. And I'm not sure, Anna-Karin and Anna, will you be able to send out one-time codes to your students? Do you know that yet?
No, we don't know that yet.
Okay. Then
we will send out information later on when we know.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so there are usually two ways to get a one-time code to activate your account if you don't have a Swedish personal identity number. And that is to visit InfoCenter it's situated on the black box building here, or you get it from the student administration. But as Anna mentioned, they will send information in this regard when we know a bit more on how it evolves for the autumn semester. So it's just good to know. Another good membership to have is the Stockholm University Student Union. And you need that one in order to have the discounts on the public transportation. So that's why it's one of the very good reasons. But apart from that, they also have a lot of events and activities for local and international students. And they also support and represent students within the university administration. So that's a good membership to have. We will have welcoming activities for new international students, of course, in the beginning of semester. We don't know yet to what extent we will be able to have things on campus or what we will have online. But this one here, the orientation day on 24th of August, will definitely be online, an online webinar. Because we already know some students will not be able to commence their studies in Stockholm. So that's why we decided to have it all online. But we're working on the different events, and the program, as far as I know, will be finished somewhere in June. So we will publish them as soon as we have more on the su.se/welcome activities website. And we will also send out information in this regard, so you know. Yeah, the checklist is another short link that is good to know, that you have like a checklist. What is the important steps before you start your studies? So as mentioned before, if you're staying more than 1 year, remember to register at the Swedish Tax Agency to get your Swedish personal identity number. And once you have that one, remember to update it in the university study administration system, and also to update it in the university admissions as well. So yeah, just to know that you need to update it in the system as well. Something that we also get questions about is the Swedish bank account. Do you need one? And can you get one even if you don't have a Swedish personal identity number? And you can get one. It's easier to do it when you have the Swedish personal identity number. But if you don't have one, these are the things that are usually listed that you would need to bring when you visit a bank to open a bank account. So a certificate that states that you're admitted and the duration of your studies, a valid ID, a rental contract or address information, and a residence permit. One of the banks that many international students use is SEB because they're the most, as far as we know, they're the most used to international students without a Swedish personal identity number, but you can use any bank, of course. Yeah. And just at the moment, due to the pandemic, you can't just go into any bank. You'll probably need to book an appointment in advance in order to open a bank account. So that's also good to know. So just shortly, this is my last part, and then I'm going to hand over to Anna-Karin and Anna. So here's some pictures from the campus. And I just realized I forgot. I wanted to put a picture of your department in here. I forgot that, sorry. So here are the main campuses, the two top pictures. The bottom left picture is Kista Science City, where we have computer and system sciences. And then we have Kräftriket, where we have business school and mathematics and Asian studies. And here we have the two top pictures, Filmhuset and Garnisonen, that's where you have media studies. The bottom left, Alba Nova, that's where you have physics and such subjects. And then we have the Bergius Botanic Garden, and that's where you have botanical garden right next to the university. So that's nice. And I'm just going to skip this picture very fast because that's the one I forgot to update. I'm really sorry about that. That's where it's supposed to be a sociology department. Yeah. Okay, so here are some dates for the academic year that are good to know. So the autumn semester and spring semester are actually more or less in one line. So there's no official break in between. So the autumn semester will start on the 30th of August, but this does not mean that your courses will automatically start on the 30th of August. So you will have a schedule and these details from the department, but this is like the official start of the semester. And one semester is 20 weeks, and you will collect 30 credits per semester. And 1 week of full-time studies, we equivalented to approximately 40 hours per week. And this includes both webinars, lectures, and independent studies as well. There are also some free Swedish language courses that we offer at the university that you can register for. And they will start the registration for this one, I think, in the beginning of August. I can't remember the exact date, but at the beginning of August. So you can look on the su.se/studyswedish website, and then you can see the links on how to register and what you need to know. And the classes for these courses are during the afternoons and evenings, and that's so that you can actually participate in them alongside your studies of your program. So that's a good way to actually get into the society a bit, to learn a bit Swedish. Makes it easier, I would say. Even though almost everyone in Sweden knows very good English, it's still nice to be able to go into a cafe and order a cafe and maybe something to eat in Swedish. Okay. So there are some links about ways to find friends and activities. So we have a Facebook group for new international students. And also there's the other link is for the student union, different clubs and associations that are open for all students that you can look at. Yeah, that was it for me. So I really hope to be able to see you guys in the autumn. And I'm gonna hang on, I'm just gonna go forward, and here's some links. And are there any questions in the chat? Otherwise, I'll just hand over to Anna-Karin. Anna, can you see if there are any questions?
No questions.
Okay, well, write them in the chat if you have any, but otherwise I'll just hand over the presentation to you, Anna-Karin.
So I keep forgetting the mute button, sorry. What I said was, welcome to the Department of Sociology and the Demography Unit at Stockholm University, and congratulations to your admission. See if we can move on. Yes, conditionally admitted. Some of you here might be conditionally admitted, and that means we have a question in the chat. We'll get back to the chat a little later, and Anna will also keep a track on that. So conditionally admitted means that you might not have an exam, a bachelor yet, but you're about to finish it, which means that you will have to show us proof, a transcript and a diploma that you have finished your previous education, so that we can admit you. But you should have received a letter with information about this as well. So, but if you have any questions about this specifically, you're always welcome to email us. So next slide, please. Yes, I want to attend, which we hope you all will want to. So we have asked you to confirm your place by sending us an email no later than May 31st. We will need your reply. And this is so that we can make places available to other students who have not been as fortunate as you have yet. So it's really important that you email us to say if you want your place or not. Thank you. Next slide. Ah, yes, which I've already mentioned about conditionally admitted. You need to seek transcripts confirming your eligibility before registration. And again, next, thank you. As Disa mentioned before, the tuition fee, that you have to pay the tuition fee no later than June 1st. And if you have any questions about this, please don't email Anna and I, because we cannot reply to these questions. Please email to study@su.se and you will be able to get the correct answer. So Disa might be one of them replying to your email then. So thank you. Again. Yes, registration and how you register. So you can register online, and this you can do between August 9th till August 23rd at Loddick for Students. And for this, you need your university account. And Disa mentioned earlier the one-time code, and there will be more information about this later on. As Anna said, we don't know yet how you will receive these one-time codes. Thank you. So the program structures. So we have 4 master programs. I'm not sure which program each and every one of you have been admitted to, but we'll just sort of very quickly go over all 4 programs. Since all our master programs have a core of mandatory courses and also elective courses. And the elective courses are usually chosen among the courses that we offer at the department, but there also are sometimes students who wish to take courses outside the Department of Sociology, and this should always be discussed with the program coordinators for the specific program. And these courses also need to be applied for through the admission site antagning.se. This you will receive information from me or Anna once every semester about how to do these for the coming semester. And if you don't, please don't wait, contact us and we will help you and see what we can do. Yes, next slide, please. So if we start with the program in sociology, all programs start with mandatory courses. And here is the master program in sociology. It's quite important that you look at the website for the program that you're admitted to see how the outline is for each semester. For instance, this master program in sociology, you have 52.5 elective courses. And for the first semester, You have 15 credits, and quite soon after you've started the program, I will email you a link where you can choose courses for the rest of the semester, because you always start with mandatory courses. So it's quite important that you always have a look, see what courses are mandatory, which courses can I choose from. And also, if you're feeling apprehensive or worried about courses, always contact us and we can help you just to make sure that you have the correct amount of courses. And of course, Anna and I will also go through this when we go through your choices, and see if you haven't made a choice, we will email you directly to make sure that you have what you need to get your exam in the end. Thank you. Go to next program. So this is our other master program in sociology, in applied social research. It is quite methods heavy, lots of quantitative methods. So you have fewer amount of elective course credits to choose. But of course, the same goes for you as the other sociology program, that you can choose courses from our department, but also have the opportunity to choose from the courses at the university if you apply for them through the national system. As you can see, research methods is a mandatory course, and this one is mandatory for all the 2-year master programs. And this you have to pass to get access to the master thesis. So. And if you have questions about this, I know that Anna have posted links in the chat for each program. So next slide, please. So I'm very quickly going through this, but this is also so you have the opportunity to go in yourself to the website and have a look at this. Here's the multidisciplinary master's program in demography, which also have 57.5 credits to choose from. And it's also quite methods heavy. For the elective courses, and I should have said this from the beginning, no matter if you're in a sociology master's or in a demography master's, you always have the possibility to choose sociology courses for your electives and demography courses for your electives, no matter which program you're in. So you have the opportunity to take demography courses even if you're in a sociology master, and vice versa, which is quite important. And many students do, actually. I would say that most students take elective courses from the department. And then we have the 1-year master program in demography. Fewer courses, but you start with the same mandatory courses as the 1-year program. And to gain access to the 1-year master thesis in demography, you will have to pass all the mandatory courses, which is important. And here since you have 15 credits to choose from in your second semester, it is advisable that you don't choose courses that runs at the same time as you write your thesis, since they should sort of be a way to your thesis. So always choose the elective courses the first half of the second semester. But we will get back to this once you're here. So just to mention it. Thank you. Next slide, please. Athena, the platform that we use. Since we usually don't have distance learning courses, but we do now during the pandemic, it says distance learning courses, but Athena is the tool we use for planning, and is also where the teachers post all schedules, all the information. It's also where you upload your exams for each course. I know, Anna, do you have anything specific you want to mention about Athena? No?
You will get access to it once you're registered. So you need to be a registered student before get access to it.
Here you should also have access to schedules and tests. So it's quite important that you go into Athena. You will both be assigned to a program site on Athena, but also for each course. And it's important that you go into the program site as well on Athena, because that is where I post information, or Anna, I should say, where we post information about elective courses and such. So it's always important that you also go in there and keep yourself updated. So I'll take the questions in the chat at the end, if that's okay. If you take next slide, please. Oh, and yes, there's also a mobile app for Athena. I don't know how it works because I don't use it, but as I mentioned there, Anna, do you have any information about the mobile app? No.
No, I don't. Sorry, I don't use it.
Because we're not students anymore, we don't use it. But yes, I would suggest that once you register that you download the app and go in there, because it's quite easy and handy to have with you wherever you go. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. And again, as Disa mentioned before, we don't know how we will conduct our teaching in the fall term as it is today. So we urge you to keep yourself updated, but of course we will also email you information as soon as we know how the fall term will start. This is all depending on the development in the world with vaccinations and everything, and all the different variations of the virus. So please keep yourself updated, both via the department's website, but also the Q&A that Disa mentioned before. And as I said, as soon as we have more information about how we're going to proceed in the fall term, we will email you. So next slides, please. And again, contact information for both Anna and I. We both work with international master students and master programs and master students in national as well. Please use the master@sociology.su.se email instead of emailing us directly, because then we both have access to your email and your questions and we both can answer. Usually when it's not the pandemic, and we don't have any office hours, usually by appointment, and when campus opens up again and it's possible to visit us in person, it's always possible to come by, but we don't know when that will be again. But you can always email us, of course, and we will reply as soon as possible. Next slide, please. Yes, again, master@sociology.su.se is the magic email where Anna and I will reply to all your questions, or try to reply to all your questions. If we don't know the answer, we will get back to you as soon as possible. So, thank you. Next slide, please. And you can follow us both on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. So please do. There you'll get updates about research that is being done at the department and new publications and stuff like that. So please follow us. And again, welcome to the Department of Sociology and Stockholm University and Stockholm in general, because Stockholm is beautiful, so welcome. Let's see what's happening in the chat, Anna.
It's two questions. One is from Sai. I would like to ask, if possible, you can share this presentation on our respective emails.
This presentation The webinar is being recorded, and it will be, where will it be posted, Disa?
Well, it will be posted on the su.se/meetus website. I can put it in the chat for you guys. Yeah.
And then we have a Then we have a question for you, Anna-Karin. Is it possible to go abroad as an exchange student one semester? And which semester will that typically be?
Yes. Semester 3 in the fall term is usually, well, it is the semester to go abroad because you only have you have 3 elective courses in the fall term. You have 1 mandatory course, which you will have to take. It's research methods, which is also mandatory to gain access to the master thesis course. But it is possible to go abroad during that semester. Absolutely.
And then there is a question, is there a possibility to take courses outside of the Department of Sociology?
There is, but you will have to apply for them through the national admission site, antagning.se. So there is no guarantee that you will be accepted to these courses. And it's also advisable to talk with the program coordinator, depending on which program you're in, about the courses that you wish to take, just to make sure that it's relevant for the program. So for sociology and the Master in Sociology and Applied Social Research, it's Andrea Voyer. And for the 2 Demography Masters, it's Eleonora Messino and Sven Drefald. So once you're here, once you're registered and start to think about the elective courses for the spring term, because it's for the spring term, the second term, that you can apply for courses outside the department, then it's advisable that you contact them or me or even Anna just to discuss this. But you will have to apply within the deadlines, of course. But this information is also included in the information that I post on Athena under each program site when it's time to choose elective courses. So it's important that, again, that you use Athena, that you go into the program site to look for information. And also, this is also where we post information when there's available research assistant jobs, for instance, which could be of interest for some of you. So again, use the Athena site for the program.
Okay.
There's anyone else?
No more questions in the chat.
Okay. Is there any other questions? I mean, you don't have to write in the chat. You can always raise your hand or.
Exactly. And just wanted to mention also, since we talked about the email address to the department, so all the questions that are related specifically to the programs, to the courses, teaching methods, schedules, all those details, send them to the department. But if you have questions that are more related to residence permit or other things like the scholarships or tuition fee, you can send an email to study@su.se, and then me and my colleagues will answer your questions. So you get a quicker answer that way. Yeah, okay, so there are no more questions in the chat now, right? No? Okay, well, if you have any questions afterwards, you're very welcome to send us an email and let us know. And as we mentioned before, we'll post this recording of this webinar on the website, and you have the link in the chat as well. And I'm not sure exactly how quickly my colleague will be able to work with this, but it will be online shortly. So, yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for today. Thank you for attending, and hopefully to see you all here in the autumn semester.